So Juan Succar, co-founder of Verde Compacto, thank you for round two on the vertical farming podcast.
Thank you, Harry. Thanks for the invitation.
We got to catch up a couple of weeks ago very quickly, and it was clear that there was a lot happening with Verde since we last spoke. I look back at the calendar. It was 2022 when we had the first conversation, and I guess we can agree that some things have changed, and a lot has happened since then for Verde Compacto. So overall, how have things been for you?
That's right. No, that long time. I didn't know it was long ago, but things have been great. Of course, we have been part of the venture. We have been having some big wins, some other not other big wins, but at the end we have learned a lot in these past 2 years. We have improved our technology. We have increased our client base, our tech portfolio. So it's been 2 interesting years for us. And overall, I can summarize it as two profitable or efficient years that had allowed us to increase our company and keep pushing our growth.
If you had to think back, I know a lot happens in 2 years, but if you think back in 2022 when we had that conversation, how would you describe Verde Compacto? Where were you as a company, and what were you thinking at that time maybe needed to change?
Well, in 2022, we were planning an international expansion. And at that moment, of course, we were selling our container farms and a lot of customized projects. So we had like these two type of products, customized projects on the container farms. And I think we were more flexible and we were more like we were working a lot of engineering to work with multiple clients at the same time with multiple necessities. And that for us was a challenge because we worked a lot of engineering for a lot of customized projects, but at the end, most of them didn't go through. That had a lot of cost on the team and a long sales process. And from that, we learned and we started to work on how to standardize our methodology on our product lines and our service to our clients. So that has been a big change for us and a big understanding on how to offer better things out there that can be more valuable for the client, but also for us as a company to deliver a high value proposition for these clients, right? So what we've done is we standardized our container farm catalog and we put it an internal policy to work for customized project over $500,000. Projects that can be larger scale and with a certain steps during the process. So the client is confident of what they are asking for. We can move along step by step. And also us that we can move along with confidence that the project is moving along, right? So that's something I think a big thing we learned in these past years to standardize our product catalog and to still keep the customized project lines, but with a minimum ticket to start and with established process of development that can be beneficial for both parties, right? So that's yeah.
The quick summary. I'm curious, obviously in here in the States they have a saying that hindsight is 2020. It's easy to look back, everything is very clear and you can see the decisions you made and the good ones and the bad ones. If you think about it as lessons learned, if you look back, are there things maybe you would have thought about differently or a strategy that you would have thought about differently knowing what you know now? What do you think you might have done differently back then if you had better information?
Well, this is one of them. This is one of those things, like try to standardize a little bit more our process to work with more established projects and have like a standardized products for people that might fit for their needs, but also have this capacity of working with clients that are more advanced and they have a more clear picture of what they're looking for. So that way we can invest time and development on certain type of projects. I would say selecting our opportunities better. And the big learn from that was that, of course, part of those opportunities, we had the opportunity to establish an American company, making a merger with another produce sellers in the States. And part of that, trying to bring solutions for everyone, that I think we learned that we need to know what type of game are we playing and what game are we not playing. So that would be a big also that's a big learn from us in the past years, like selecting the opportunities better and be aligned with your vision and with your strategy and focus on that. And instead of trying to take a lot of opportunities that probably are not aligned on your core business.
How has your decision-making process improved? Because obviously, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as you grow, as you learn, as you make mistakes and figure out what's best, do you have guidance or do you just learn from experience or how do you put yourself in a position to try to make better decisions?
Well, of course, experience is the best teacher there is, right? Well, of course, the best way to learn is from our mistakes. So I would say that's the most important teacher we've had in these 8 years that we started. I'm honest, we've made a lot of mistakes in this road, but these mistakes has helped us improved our quality controls, improved our selling terms, improve our sales strategy, improve our partnerships. So increase our performance in the company, make better marketing strategy. So the most important teacher we've had, of course, is our own mistakes. But also we've developed we've increased our board of advisors. We have surrounded our decision-making team with experts in different fields that have given us other visions separately from or different from ours that complement our decision-making process. So we even changed the board meetings, how we were taking our board meetings, and in a more active way. Certain type of decisions, we decided to make them as a group instead of as a person individually. So also that has helped us a lot to be surrounded with very professional and very talented and experts on the different fields that allows us to see a bigger picture that we alone is more difficult to see.
And you've also recently restructured the organization and you've stepped down from CEO and handed that role over to someone else on your team. Can you talk about those decisions as well?
Yeah, so Jorge and me, both co-founders, we were co-CEOs, and that helped a lot in the early stage of the company because that helped us separate some responsibilities and be more agile in executing certain type of things. He was more focused on operations and me on commercial, but from CEO standpoint, that helped us make faster decisions and be more agile. But now that the company has grown, the team has grown, everything has changed. And now we saw the necessity of having a different type of structure. And we decided Jorge is a great executor. He's great in operations. And so we decided for him to jump in as a CEO. And I changed my position as president of the board. And in the daily basis, I'm heading all the sales and commercial team. So I'm more focused on strategy, growth plans, all of this strategy making process, decision making process, leading all of the board and executing it through the commercial team of the company. Jorge is 100% focused on how to make that happen. The product line, the R&D, the team, and be behind and support all of the things we are trying to push through the strategy making process.
So obviously, it seems like some of the offerings have changed or the structuring of the offerings have changed since we last spoke. So for those of the listeners or viewers who may be finding you for the very first time, can you talk a little bit about, what Verde Compacto offers and, where you're currently focusing your time now?
Of course. Yeah, so Verde Compacto, we started in 2016 as the first indoor vertical farming manufacturer in Latin America. So we started from scratch and we really got to the market in 2019. So we were 3 years focused 100% on R&D. And in 2019, we launched our first product that we called the Hofster container farm. That is with the aim of bringing a high quality and highly productive container farm to the market, but making it more accessible so people can join this industry with better return of investment, with lower capex needed. And that's how we started. Part of what we've learned and what we've been building up in the company is, well, besides just manufacturing the container farms, we've seen that our client success is our own success. And most of the success of the client is in the daily operations and the management of the farms. So then we added to our container farm product all of the training process and all of the support behind the machine. So that's part of what we've been building since then. So now we are selling plug and play container farm that has a very specialized training program behind it and a very detailed support program for first year of operations, where we've seen where it's the most important period where clients probably need advice on optimizing their operations. So we've constructed this plug and play solution, machine plus training and support. Part of this development, we have developed a whole technology portfolio. We started with a leafy green container farm, but in the years we have also developed and made some projects with other farms. Also, lately we've been working a lot with some specific projects for strawberries. We have been part of this portfolio. We have been developing mushrooms, container farms, etc. But part of the strategy right now is focusing on promoting the leafy green container farm. That's our champion. That's our product. And part of what these lessons we've learned in the past is for some specific clients that have certain specific needs, we have the additional technology portfolio, but it's not for everyone. And we know this technology is still for a smaller type of niche of clients. But if clients that are qualified for this type of technology are needing strawberries, container farm, etc., so only then we can sell it to them. But our champion and our focus is to keep increasing and pushing sales of our leafy green container farm, and that's part of what we offer.
How has the environment or the market shifted or changed in Mexico, and maybe even if you can speak to broader, like Central and Latin America?
No, it has increased a lot. Every year we see an exponential increase. When we launched everything in 2019, you said vertical farming, and here people were saying, okay, what's that? Then probably in 2021, some people were saying, I saw that in a documentary or in a movie, or I read an article. So now people were some people heard something somewhere. And for example, last year or this year, now people are saying, I was thinking about bringing a vertical farming project into my portfolio. And now people are looking to do projects with vertical farming. So it shifted from, I don't know anything from what you're talking about to now I'm thinking on bringing this technology into my portfolio. And a lot of people here, for example, in Mexico, now the thing is, I didn't know we had that in Mexico. I knew that was in Europe or US, or people were now looking for manufacturers or suppliers elsewhere. But now they know we are a supplier in the country. Well, it has created a lot of confidence behind the industry. So that's an interesting shift.
Yeah, and it seems like you had early mover advantage, specifically in Mexico, because when you started that early, I don't know who else was doing it, and maybe people were importing solutions from the United States, but it must have helped to have that early mover advantage to make a name for yourself in Mexico.
Definitely. And now we're saying that we're seeing an interesting ecosystem being developed in our city. So as early players that we had to create everything from scratch. Well, now in the area, we have 3 universities working with our container farms. We have 2 brands of different farmers that are supplying restaurants. We have now other people that are bringing new startups, developing interesting stuff. We have created now, for example, for the all of the software and hardware, we have created relationships with big companies that are being established in the region. So what is happening right now is that I think this has created an ecosystem of vertical farming, a vertical farming ecosystem around where we are located. So that has been a very interesting phenomenon we've seen in the years.
Have you seen a shift in terms of the interest from investors in the space as well?
Yes, totally. Well, last year was tough because of the news around the industry of many companies going to Chapter 11. The investors, a lot of investors were giving second thoughts on vertical farming, but as the news passed by and people start analyzing what happened, now investors are looking for that. Now investors know that as any industry, you need to be careful of certain risks. You need to plan certain type of stuff. And we are seeing instead of going with massive investments in massive production sites, now we shifted to secure the market, the produce market, secure prices, analyze the financials, and invest on a more scalable way. So we've seen that with different clients as well. It makes sense. No, going like I think, yeah, I think it's normal in any new technology or every new market. There's aggressive players that want to come in, and that's important when the industry is in a process of developing the technology. But now we are in. I think the industry has shifted into now. There's a good technology out there, different suppliers out there. All of them, well, some of them good and better than, and some other better than others. But now the technology is in a point where it can make a profit, it can make business for somebody, it can help solve certain necessities that other ways wouldn't allow it. So now I think it's not in that R&D phase, now it's in a commercial type of phase. So investments need to be looked different from a different perspective. So that's what a little bit of our vision there.
So talk a little bit about the new projects you have in motion, and what you're working on currently.
Yeah. So part of this standardization, of course, let's say our first priority is to keep on increasing our container farm or leafy green container farm, making it more profitable, more productive, better quality, lower capex, so better service. So we are always improving that. We are working in improving this additional portfolio, the fodder technology, the strawberry technology, the mushroom technology. We're working on improving it, and we're working with specific clients with this technology, and these specific clients allow us also to improve it. And in the near future, we can probably add it as a more commercial type of system out there. Also, this is only happening in Mexico right now, but we are launching a micro farming catalog, which is we call it the hoster home, which is a small vertical farm for your house. So now you don't need to have a business around it or a whole infrastructure behind vertical farming. But with this, we are aiming to bring vertical farming to every house in the world. Of course, we are in an an early commercial stage. We are in pre-sale right now in Mexico only. The aim is bringing a product less than $1,500 out there, but that can help you have fresh produce at home, grown the easiest way possible. So,
and what would be the form factor for that? Is it a tower, or what's the design look like?
It's like a small vertical garden, probably half the size of a fridge. But well, you can see the design on our website in verdecompacto.com in the Spanish site, because it's only available in Mexico right now. But it's smaller than a refrigerator. But the design that we're bringing is an interesting design that it doesn't only work. It is not only a machine that works good, but that also looks good at home. So it's an interesting piece at home to look at, to show, and to create a whole family and friends experience around it. We're saying it's like the Weber barbecue, but for veggies. So it's creating the same experience that a barbecue creates behind it, family, friends, good food. So we are trying to bring that same experience around that. But we have a special team working in this product. We are now delivering the first units in Mexico. And for the first, I think for 2025, we will only have it available in Mexico. And we are looking for large scale distributors in other parts of the world so we can establish the logistics with the customer. So that's something that it's happening. And then probably you will hear more about it in the following years to come.
And so where are you seeing other opportunities for growth? And you mentioned, revisiting your expansion into the States as well.
Exactly. So right now we are seeing three lines of growth. One is expanding our container or vegetable lobster container farm into the US. Sales have been more organic sales in the last years. Right now we are working on a formal go-to-market plan for the States, and that will be happening in the following months. So that's one. The second line is improving software improvement for data analysis, AI, etc. That's also the second line of growth. And the third line of growth we are working on is on the micro farming systems. So those are like the three things we are working on.
And who are you partnering with on the technology side?
Well, for the software, we have a partnership with Siemens in Mexico. And with them, we added our software into their and we are including it in their hardware. So we can have better data analysis and data performance. And that's part of what we're doing in the software development. So those are the type of partnerships we've been doing lately to increase the container farming performance.
And have you noticed a shift in support from local government or even like countrywide, in terms of, I don't know if there's opportunities for just actual support or financial support or even helping you spread the word about what's happening?
There is more than government. I think, for example, these 2 years in Mexico, there was I think also in the States, we suffered a very severe drought season that lasted 2 years. And that helped for people to be more aware of the importance of water resources. And this was a very severe drought. And I think a lot of media, a lot of big companies were starting to create forums, books, interviews, papers were doing articles around it. And a lot of these type of media looked for interviews or writing articles about Verde Compacto and the importance of vertical farming on water or reducing water waste on agriculture. So besides more than government, I think media in local media or national media is starting to look more at these type of projects that are helping the environment and are doing things differently. So that has helped a lot on the shift that I talked about earlier. And yeah, well, local governments, what can I say? Well, in Mexico, there is a fund that comes from the international bank that is helping or covering part of the interest rate when investing in this type of technology. So that's a good tool that is out there for people that are financing their farms. So this type of funds give you up to 2%, let's say, you get back 2% of the interest you're paying when investing on exactly a rebate. That's the word. A rebate on the interest you're paying when investing in this type of systems. So those are the type of funds that we are getting. And we are still trying to make something with the government here to increase the help they can give on this type of investments.
I'm sure this answer has changed since the last time we spoke, but what is a tough question you've had to ask yourself recently?
The political, one tough question is the political environment. This year we have, in Mexico we had election year, and in the US, so we had both countries. We had election years, and with tough people on front. So an interesting thing that we're thinking is how the political environment is going to look like at the end of the year, and between North America. Honestly, we see that Again, politicians are politicians and they like to talk a lot, say a lot, and do not a lot. And we hope the good relationship that we have between Canada, Mexico, and the US keeps the same. This is a very powerful, the NAFTA agreement is a very powerful agreement that allows us to be a very competitive solution in North America and also allows North American products to be competitive down here. So it's a big tool to strengthen the market in North America, the market and trade in North America. So we need to we need to pay attention on how the political environment is going to look like by the end of the year. But I'm positive. I'm positive about this.
So with all that, it sounds like there's been a lot that's been happening, a lot of lessons learned since, over the past couple of years, a shift in priorities in terms of product lines and who you're offering the new products and services to. So as you think forward in terms of like a roadmap, if we're having this conversation now in another 2 years, what do you have in place now so that you can look back and say, yeah, I think we succeeded on our plan?
Yeah, so to meet our goals within our growth strategy. So I would say be a known player and a trustable player in North America. That people, when they think about container farming, they think about the Hopster and how successful they've been by buying a Hopster. So that for me would be like our dream, that people that invest in a Hopster, that invest in Verde Compacto and invest their trust in our company, that we see success stories happening on in North America, not only in Mexico, but have increased our success stories in North America. So that would be one thing that I will be very encouraged to talk about in our next interview about these success stories we're having in the US and Canada. Also, the second thing it would be how the data and AI is helping and revolutionizing the industry, because there's a lot of things to do there in the vertical farming that we can take advantage of by using this type of tools correctly, and we can drastically increase performance, yields, paybacks, investments. So that would be another topic I would like to talk about in our next interview, how things are developing there, how the laws are developing there, because right now we don't know. There's a lot of blindside around that, so we need to be careful on that as well. But I think we will have the industry will be revolutionized by this. And the third thing is now having thousands of people using and consuming hydroponic products at home with our small units. So I hope we can have this conversation earlier than in the following years.
Yeah, I think
sooner than later. That's the way.
I think the approach of educating consumers, at the home level is really important because, like you said, for many people, it'll be the first time they've actually been able to taste, outside of maybe going to a market and buying something that's been grown in a greenhouse or an indoor farm. There's a big difference between actually doing that, that one level, but then, there's nothing better than to have it in your kitchen and to see that it's grown and noticing maybe for the first time ever the difference in flavor, the difference in quality, and in terms of buying something that's been in a bag and traveled like thousands of miles to get to your plate.
Correct, 100% correct. And also the awareness that you are giving your family around health and nutrition and food supply. Right now, I think there's also a lack of awareness what's behind the food we're eating every day, the effort and the chain that has to happen for us to have a beautiful tomato or beautiful salad on our plates. We don't realize all the work, all the energy, everything that is, all the resources that is behind for you to have that salad in your plate. So I think complementing your comment would be how can we increase that awareness in families around the world using this. So that would be a big win if we could have that awareness given to small kids and the future generations.
What we're seeing here, Juan, in the States is, over the years with a lot of the vertical farming companies moving into packaged salads, moving into dressings, moving into these other revenue generating products. I'm wondering what the market looks like in Mexico and what your thoughts are about that as a possible strategy.
I think that's a great strategy because at the end the products grown in vertical farming are premium quality crops. Sometimes it's of course the production cost it's higher than traditional farming. So you need to generate high valuable products for the consumer to generate interesting payback of your investment. So I think what companies are doing in the US are, I think they're finding this type of ways to making technology be more efficient or pay itself faster and have better payback periods. That of course is helping have more technology development, reducing cost and keeping the industry evolving. And at some point, vertical farming costs probably would be the same or lower than traditional farming. But here in Mexico, what is happening is people are building the value they are giving to the products is by building an interesting brand behind, well, in front of the product. So a different brand that talks about traceability, talks about sustainability, talks about health. So clients that are using these type of systems here are most of them that are using it for commercial purposes. They are building a brand that allows them to have a different product to sell. And that is what happened.
So, as you think about like what else is in terms of the environment and the industry in vertical farming in Mexico, there's obviously a bigger presence. You see conferences like Green Tech now having an event in Mexico, Indoor Ag Tech, as well. So it seems like there's more of a visibility in terms of conferences and bringing the industry together. Are you seeing that, bringing more awareness and allowing you to have like conversations with colleagues and peers in the space in Mexico?
Definitely. Here we have Mexico is a large producer, and we have a lot of controlled environment agriculture in greenhouses. So controlled environment agriculture in Mexico today, it's the industry around greenhouse. But since it's a big industry, it's giving a space now to open the conversation for indoor vertical farming. So these big players, so this is a big platform for indoor vertical farming to come up. So that's why we have a Green Tech. That's why we are having a big conference happening on October as well. We have one of the largest agriculture fairs in Latin America. Happens 1 hour away from home. So we receive over 100,000 people every day during that conference. So we've been there before. So there's a big industry around, and since greenhouse and CEA talking about greenhouse is a big player, this is giving a platform for vertical farming to jump in and kick off.
As we get close to the end here, I want to also talk a little bit about the experiences you've had when you're working with people who are considering a container farm. What are some guidance for those people so that they would be a good fit for a Hufster? What are some of the questions they need to be thinking about? What are some of the pre-qualifications to ensure that they have the best chance of success?
Correct. That's a very interesting question. So we say there are 4 types of clients we see they have a potential on using vertical farming, because container farming is not for everyone, and there's aspect to consider. So we see a great market in universities for research and development, for educational and educate the students with the future practices and technologies that are going to be used for farming. So for universities, I think the most important thing is that they are betting and they are investing on the future and innovation on the new practices. So that's for universities. If that's the case, that will be a successful project. Also, we are working or we're seeing a lot of increase in real estate developments. So in Mexico, we've had a boom of Zen type of communities development, high-end, but Zen communities. That this means that they have their own products grown in the community. They have a beautiful beach. They have interesting amenities, and they create a very harmonious lifestyle. But this is happening a lot in the beaches of Mexico, in the tropical areas, where farming is really very, very hard. But these concepts are selling, having your own products being grown in the community and delivered to your house every day. Since they have a big challenge of producing it, or they have to invest a lot of land just to comply with that value proposition, well, they're seeing a great value on using container farms, for example. So a qualified client in the real estate business would be somebody like this. They're trying to bring a differentiated amenity to complement the lifestyle they're selling. The third type of clients we're seeing that is qualifying for this is also hotels, resorts, or people that depend on importing fresh produce, and they have a long chain behind their logistics, and they have to store it, they have to cool it down, and they're having a lot of waste. So we're seeing this type of people that they have a challenge to solve on supply, but they already have clients that pay premium for this type of products. So that's also a qualified lead, for example. And the fourth and the most popular, it would be investors that are looking to create a new business related on farming. And by this, people that probably are interested in probably launching their vertical farming business, we say there's two things that are very, very important for your success. One is having a potential market that will pay a premium price and appreciates a fresh product, a clean product, a healthy product, and a recently harvested product. So that's very important. We've had a lot of people that they want to get in, but they don't have a clear market or a clear selling point of the product. So that's key for the project success. And the second key for the project success is having a good operation on your farm. That's why we've increased our support or training, so to increase the success rate of our clients. But at the end, it's very important that the operation it's well made. I think around the industry, marketing has been saying a lot of that it's for everyone and everyone can use a container farm and it's like really easy to use. And it is, but it's not just like you plug the cable and you just turn off the switch and everything is perfect. At the end, you are growing plants and you need to take care of them properly, and you need to make things properly. That's why we bring in the support, but that's part of the success, having a good operation behind your farm that can give you enough product to sell it to your potential clients. So that's the two things people should consider for this. Of course, a lot of people stop their project because of financing. But for example, if you're listening in the US, now there's a lot of there's good financing options to start this type of projects. We have a partnership with a company called Containag, where they lease the hopsters. So if you're planning to acquire a hopster, you can automatically qualify for a leasing for your equipment, as long as you have these two things covered. So yeah, I think these are the most important things to consider. And of course, if people want to learn more about this, we can happily talk to them and advise.
Yeah, it seems like it's important that they do their homework and prepare for all the things they need to consider, all the things you just mentioned, figuring out what's the product market fit, if they have an audience, for their crop, if they have a plan, if they've got a team, if they got the location, if they're considering like all the capex, the energy expenditures and all that stuff. And I think that's very helpful for them to have that conversation before starting with your team. To figure out if it's the right investment vehicle for them.
Correct. Exactly. And that's part of the advice we normally give the client. First week, we normally talk to them to make like a pre-qualification conversation to know if the actual client matches with this type of solutions, if they are aware of the operation and the commercial part of the project they want to execute. And from there, we normally advise them on this type of stuff, and we try to help them establish their project correctly so they can successfully execute it.
So as we come to a close, what I've been doing is leaving some time, a few minutes at the end of each conversation for any feedback or comments or thoughts that you have for the indoor farming industry. A lot of your colleagues, fellow CEOs and owners listen to the show. So I always try to maintain and continue this dialogue and this conversation with everyone in the industry. So any thoughts from you about, for the industry?
Well, my thoughts are the industry, it's picking up. Of course, the industry has had its ups and downs as normal. But as long as leaders in the industry are working together, because I think if we are in the same industry together, as long as we have success case stories using different technologies, the industry is going to grow. And the confidence in investments, in buyers, in everyone behind it will increase. And that will generate and accelerate the technology development to take it to new scales, new decrease capex, which is one of the biggest challenges on how to reduce capex needed for an opex needed for these type of farms. But as long as we work together and we are willing to cooperate and to make partnerships and to talk about success stories, and more than seeing us as competitors and seeing more as partners, because we need to create this confidence behind the industry. I think that's the way we can actually turn it to keep this positive curve still going. So yeah, that's my thought.
Well, Juan, thanks again for making some time to come back and sharing the inspiring, pivot for your company, some of the changes, some lessons learned, some bumps along the way. But the good news is that you've come out stronger. It seems like you've now got a clear, focused mission, and that you've got an updated and improved product line and product offering. And it seems like, from where you're headed, that, everything's improving in the right direction. So I'm glad to see that we were able to get that update from you.
No, yeah, I'm very happy. I'm very happy to be here for a second time. I'm very passionate to share our experience. If this can add value to one person at least, I think we made the objective of today's chat. So thank you, Harry, for your confidence and allowing me to learn from you. And I hope people can learn from what we chatted today.
Yeah. So we'll direct people to the website, verdecompacto.com. It seems like you had a refresh of the site because it's a bit more modern, but the design looks a little new too. So kudos to the design team. It looks really nice.
Thanks. And actually, people can visit a container farm. If people haven't visited a container farm, they can go to the website. They can take a virtual tour on a container farm. So if people are looking to visit or to know what a container farm looks like, well, they can, in the website, they can jump in whenever they want.
Sounds good. Okay.
So thank you, Harry, for having me here. It's an honor.
Yeah. Thanks again, Juan. We'll have all the contact links in the show notes as well.
Thank you.